was preparing him for long days in his new climbing prosthetic legs.
What appeals to you about the thought of trying to climb a mountain?
I knew that it was going to be a challenge, and I wouldn't have to, I'd have to get out of my chair, have to start doing everything that I've been wanting to do.
How would you describe the last 2 years for you?
Hell.
Isaac was 20 years old when he was sent into the center of the fight against the Taliban in Afghanistan. A small-town boy from Wisconsin, he grew up in a military family, and all he ever wanted was to be a Marine. On patrol in Helmand Province in 2011, just 3 months into his deployment, Isaac stepped on an IED, which blew away most of his lower body.
They told me that I'd lost both my legs. They told me that unless I was able to move my fingers, they were going to take my arm, because I really messed up my bicep and my forearm.
2 weeks later, the doctors had to remove his eye.
After you already lost your legs and your arm, was that hard?
I think the hardest part was finding out that my testicles were gone. Luckily, I have a daughter, though, and she's a miracle.
Isaac battled depression for the next 2 years and had all but given up on his recovery when he learned about Tim Medved's and his work with other veterans who had survived catastrophic injuries.
Why did you choose Isaac?
A lot of these guys, you get used to the wheelchair because it's easy, you know. Putting legs on is not easy. It's painful. It's work.
And that's where Isaac is now.
And that's where Isaac is now, and that's where I come in. Let's go. Bam.
Tim chose the lowest of the 7 summits for Isaac because of the severity of his injuries. But he also chose winter, the toughest time of year. Rehabilitation comes from the challenge, he says, not from making it easy.
I have to give him a mountain that's like a Mount Everest to him. And with all those injuries he has, and I'm going to take him up the hardest route. You factor all those things in there, I mean, there's a good possibility he might not make it.
The first thing Isaac encountered at the base of the mountain was this dense underbrush covered in snow that tangled and twisted around his artificial legs. There was no trail, and with his prosthetics digging into his stumps, he painfully fought his way up the mountain. With each step, Isaac moved only a few inches, and after 7 hours of climbing on that first day, he had barely made it a mile.
I'm not very good at blazing a trail.
As darkness fell, Tim stayed at his side.
It's all about right now getting to camp. That's all I want you to focus on.
There was a few points that, swear to God, I thought my bone broke through my skin. I just wanted to tell Tim, dude, I can't do this. I'm in way too much pain. I can't do this.
At some point, it becomes more mental than physical. And that's the part where it comes down to this and this.
Tim Medved's would never tell you he knows what it's like to be wounded on the battlefield. But what helps him relate to injured veterans like Isaac is his own experience of struggling to overcome life-threatening injuries from a motorcycle crash 13 years ago.
Half of my back is a neck cage around it. It's been bolted with 6 bolts, and it's been fused. I have 2 metal plates in my head and 10 screws. I have 2 metal plates and 10 screws in my right hand.
So you're a Hell's Angel, you're a biker, you're a tough guy. What's it like to suddenly find yourself in this state, completely vulnerable and broken?
I would just, cover the pain with, 15,
That nigga was doing, see, I don't even care about him. He was doing what fun.
Tim picked up John Krakauer's book, Into Thin Air, about a hiking.
I don't even care about him. He was having fun.
He says climbing Everest struck him as the ultimate way to prove to his doctors and himself that he was still capable of doing something that difficult. So with no mountain climbing experience and a body patched together with metal, he set his sights on conquering
Oh, it's not somebody who
the
was
world's
the
highest
war,
peak.
fighting for
This is
life.
going to be my
No.
rehabilitation. You can understand something, like for a guy like me to walk into these rehab places, these people doing these little, squeezing the ball.
For me, for this guy, I don't care
I
about
turned
him
my
because he
back on
was
it. He
just
didn't get
having
into too
fun.
hurt.
I care
For
about
me,
the
that was
vet.
just
The
that
one
wasn't enough.
was
That was
a
like
war
That was
zone
done.
and
Yeah, it
fighting
was.
for us
And I
to
felt like I
get
was dying
freedom.
inside.
The freedom we have
So
right now,
I needed
that's all
I
I
needed a
care
punch in
about.
the
That's
mouth,
why I give vet.
and Mount Everest was that
If
punch
you a
in the mouth.
vet,
Mount Everest was that punch in
I
the mouth.
give you the most
6 years
respect I
later,
can
on his second attempt,
in this
Tim
lifetime.
summited the mountain.
But this guy, he
Part of
was
the
out having
Snow
fun
Town
like,
series,
like me.
Everest Beyond the Limit. He says the experience got him off his pain pills and back on his feet. He became convinced he could do the same for
Uncle was on his bike,
so
having
he
fun.
created what he calls the Heroes
No
Project,
one wasn't doing
a
nothing for
one-man
nobody.
organization that takes amputees where most able-bodied people wouldn't dare venture. From the frozen tundra of Antarctica to the top of Mount McKinley, the highest peak in North America.
Big mountains like that, they, forget that they even lost their legs.
Because if they can do that, they can do anything.
They do that, they can do anything.
These three young men were all wounded, fighting the same enemy in Afghanistan as Isaac, and also recovered here at the Naval Medical Center, San Diego, where Isaac was preparing for his climb. Each one of them followed Tim Medved's to climb one of the 7 summits. He took Marine Corporal Keontae Story to the coldest place on Earth, Antarctica, where he struggled for 2 weeks to get to the top of Mount Vinson.
Going through my injury, I lost myself. I didn't have a clue who I was. I got to that point where I was actually starting to hit that breaking point of, you hit that suicidal plateau. Getting to the top of that mountain, I felt like I found who I actually was, who I am, and what I can do.
And Staff Sergeant Mark Zambon traveled with Tim to Africa, where he conquered the continent's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania.
At that moment, it was like, that answered it for me. That this injury, does not define my life. I define it. And life is still able to be powerfully lived, even in this condition.
And Corporal Brad
I'm not gonna make it, Lord.
to South America,
Please, don't let
where he
nothing like that
climbed
happen to me.
23,000
Keep-
feet to the
make me
summit
dead
of Mount
first.
Aconcagua, less
Please,
than a year
Lord.
after losing both his legs.
Please,
It's
Lord.
something that you can carry with you the rest of your life, and it also helps you put a closure on a period in your life too. I don't know where I would be today if I had not done it. It's definitely improved my life significantly, and my outlook on life significantly.
They all said it was the most physically demanding thing they'd ever done in their lives.
It's miserable. I mean, high altitude mountaineering, it's just pure suffering. It's period.
Lord,
You're freezing,
please.
you're starving,
I
your
can't.
body's
I
wearing
can't,
away,
I
you're
can't be,
aching,
Lord.
you're,
Please, Lord.
it's horrible. I don't
Before anything, just Lord, just get. I want to be dead
that
suddenly.
5 minutes on the summit.
That's why I don't do nobody want.
What if something happens to him?
Hey,
What
dead
if
coming, I
what
don't
if
want to
they
do no
die in
suffering.
one of your climbs with
Just
you? Was that a conversation you had
let
with
it
them?
go.
Of course. Yeah, from day one. I mean, I'm taking you to a mountain that, people die on.
It
Girl,
might
I'm gonna do
happen.
my best
It
in
might
life.
happen.
Don't hurt
And that's part
nobody.
of the recovery. That's part of the rehabilitation.
But the hurting
And
part,
wait.
I don't
It's
want.
like
I
deploying
don't
to
go
Iraq,
to it.
deploying
I
to
go to it
Afghanistan.
already. When I
It's
was a
like going
kid, I
out
go
on
to it.
patrol every day. They don't know if they're coming back.
I go
And
to it already.
that's a powerful life-changing experience.
Back on Mount Kosciuszko, where the storm had grown stronger and more threatening, Isaac's mission had now become extremely dangerous. After 3 days, he was far from the summit.
If you don't make it to that south today, we go down. Expedition's done, finished. All right? So you've got to move quick.
The storm turned into a whiteout, with 60-mile-an-hour winds and zero visibility.
Like once that storm hit, the only way I could actually follow the trail is if I had somebody literally 2 feet in front of me, so I could see their snowshoes. A few times that I'd sink in or something, and the guy in front of me would get a little bit further ahead. I'd look up, I couldn't even see him.
Unable to move, the team hunkered down to wait it out. They were stranded for 2 long days. Just as they were reaching their limit, the skies cleared, leaving behind a hard, icy surface on the mountain.
I was able to move so much faster because all the snow was compact. Like, I wasn't sinking, I wasn't having troubles with my side sticks. Like, I could stay on top of the snow.
Isaac covered 4 miles in this one day, more ground than he had the entire expedition, and the summit was now finally within his reach. But he still faced the most challenging part, the final 400 feet of vertical elevation to the top. The 5 days Isaac Blunt had endured on Mount Kosciuszko were the first he'd spent without his wheelchair since losing his legs 2 years before. Now he was standing on top of one of the 7 summits of the world.